What's a big fear you have that people don't take seriously? Becoming 80 years old and not having enough money for groceries. Distracted driving. Bed bugs. Not that other people know I fear it, but when someone comes to my place and sits on my couch, I really get tense. And when I come home after riding the bus, subway, or theater, I look at my clothes like a biohazard. Fear of being single forever. Nobody really takes loneliness that serious, especially when it comes to being single. Driving. It's unnatural, dangerous, and most of you are wretched at it. For me, it's bugs. I have had a serious fear of bugs since I was a kid. And people never take it seriously. Fear of abandonment. They just say I won't leave you, like that's the issue. I can't trust that you won't leave me. The fear of not being liked. Redditors. Fear of the dark. Maybe it has to do with fear of the unknown and the new. Maybe I'm afraid of stepping out of my comfort zone. Fear of eating in front of other people. I am terrified of open water. When I was a child, I loved the ocean and sharks. In 2004, a man off the Mendocino coast was killed by a great white shark. I was there for that. No one fully understands my fear of the sea, or anything larger than me in the water. Submechanophobia. Thalassophobia ECT. Not me, but my good friend. She suffers from really bad trypophobia, which is basically disgust or fear in seeing patterns of holes. People don't take it seriously at all. They send her pictures asking, "Does this bother you?" And because of it, she curls up in the fetal position in bed, cowering from a completely strange fear that she can barely even articulate. Ignorance of things like this makes people not take it seriously, and they end up being very cruel. My phobia is to be abandoned. Decapitation by ceiling fan. Pregnancy, childbirth, the entire concept of motherhood. It's natural, everyone does it. You won't even remember the pain. One having kids is the biggest joy in life. Good for you, I don't care. It's still terrifying to me. Nobody has survival skills anymore. When the supply chain fails, oh dearie me. Motorbikes. My dad rode one all through my childhood, and since he was about 16, he had so many accidents. One that nearly ripped his foot off and we thought he wouldn't make it. He passed away 3.5 years ago in a bike accident. I will never get on one. The dark. For some reason, when daytime ends, my brain just doesn't think in the same way. I'm hypervigilant and anxious. I assume every unusual sound is a threat, whereas during daylight I probably wouldn't even notice the stimuli. But people think only kids are afraid of the dark, so it's become my shameful secret. Things that fall off trucks. It seems the crossover of people who understand enough physics to safely tie down a load and the people who tie those loads down is pretty thin. There's also some selection bias here too. If you're a truck driver for 30 years and have had nothing fall off, that's because those who have don't drive trucks anymore. Or you have chosen to ignore that one tiny roll over that time, which was clearly not your fault. Driving. Vomiting. I understand it's a normal bodily function, but I've never done it, so the unknown aspects about it freak me out. I know I won't die if I throw up, but I'm scared about the pain and anxiety it will cause me. Balloons. I hate them and people think it's funny. I find them disgusting. A sack of someone's stale breath. Get it away from me now. Water you can't see the bottom of. Like oceans and lakes. I live in a coastal town. Lots of surfing and diving. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. There are shark sightings regularly. No thank you very much. Ticks, bro. Even if you have trousers, they still find a way to climb under your clothes. And the fact that you could have one and not even notice just gives me shivers. Being on a sinking ship. Large roaches. I don't just dislike them, I'm terrified. It's a lot for me. I'm diagnosed with agoraphobia. People say, you just need fresh air. Thanks. You've saved my life. Bro. Horseflies laying eggs in my armpits. Severe economic crisis, particularly with energy markets, but anything disruptive that can freeze access to essentials. The world is a very complex and fragile machine. I'm not sure people realize how quickly things can deteriorate in even the most developed of places. There are so many cogs that need work in synchrony, and it's amazing to marvel at. But miss about 9 meals or so and people will tear one another apart. I live with my mom and I have less than $1,000 in the bank. I'm deadly poor, but my mom says I'm rich. Like, I wish she took me seriously, because if she died today, I'm going to be sleeping under the bridge. It's the fear of not being heard. The Y2K bug has been dormant for 23 years. A wasted life. The planet is dying. I have severe emetophobia, as in it has ruined my life pretty much entirely, and every thought, every action, every decision, is about at levels of severe. The amount of times I've told people I have a severe phobia of throwing up or of any kind of mention of it, only to get the response of, well, nobody likes throwing up, haha, is astonishing. I have a fear that I will be single for the rest of my life. I guess I'm old school in the sense that I would like to have a long monogamous relationship. But it feels like people downplays my fear, saying stuff like it will happen sooner or later. Which is probably true, but it doesn't remove the fear. Furthermore, I live in the capital city of my country, and it feels like people here are more focused on casual sex than long-lasting, trusting relationships. The fear of an impending civil war. Personally, I think it becomes more and more likely every election cycle. Eventually the levees will break, and just like that your neighbor could become an active war zone. Overnight. Someday I'm gonna get really fucked over even more, because most people don't see me as a full person. And that often manifests in them not taking me seriously, which means no one takes the fear seriously. The fear of dying alone. A balloon popping near me and crossing the street are two of mine. Balloons make me so anxious. Riding over high steeply sloped bridges and high steeply sloped and curved highway intersections. The Cascadia subduction zone. There is a non-trivial chance that in our lifetime it will cause the largest natural disaster in American history. Pregnancy. Enough for retirement. Brain aneurysms terrifies me. The idea that something just suddenly pops and can kill you or cause real lasting damage. It's always freaked me out ever since I knew what they were. Had some nights where I've struggled to sleep because I can't stop thinking it could happen any second. And then telling yourself not to think about it is weird, because you then kind of start thinking about your brain even more. I have a fear of being left out. People say I am being jealous, and I probably sound like a bitch, but it's true. That I'll get cancer. And that it will be a cancer that isn't treatable. Unleashed pit bulls. I truly believe society is collapsing. We are at the breaking point and nobody seems to notice. Look up any country in the world and their major crops. Chances are they failed this year and or last. Our freshwater sources are drying up or polluted. Our vegetables are full of salmonella. Dozens of species went extinct last month. Just in a month. We're running out of natural resources at a breakneck pace. I'm hoping for 10 more good years. But not confident it will happen. Crazy drugged out people. So basically, the homeless guys that hang out in the park downtown.